this is Faith and Books. I've been working all day to finish reading Shakespeare so I can make this video. And now, all of a sudden, when it's time to do it, I'm like so sleepy, I just want to lay down. But anyway, I finished 2 books. I finished my last read that I'm going to be able to do for September. And that was the second part of Henry IV. I just finished that like a half an hour ago. And I really wanted to do Winter's Tale, but I was a week behind their scheduling for the whole Shakespeare, the hosts that were doing it. I was a week behind anyway, so I wasn't going to be able to see it in a timely way, and I just didn't have the wherewithal. But I still feel a sense of accomplishment because now I have read all the plays in the original Henriette, yeah. So I've read Richard II, which still remains my favorite. Well, I love Henry V too. I like Richard II, Henry V. Henry IV, parts 1 and 2 have their moments, but they're not my favorite. Mostly because I'm just not fond of Falstaff, and I just feel like too much time is spent on him, that Shakespeare found him very interesting, and I just don't. And there's just a lot of weird stuff thrown in. In Henry IV, part 2, we meet a bunch of other characters, and there's stuff that's assumed about the Chief Justice that didn't come before in Henry IV, part 1. But you can see, where the issues are from the play. But still, you need a whole cast of other characters. There's this whole funny scene where Falstaff is recruiting soldiers for his troop or whatever. And anyway, but the thing is, here is the big major plot point is that in the midst of all this civil war and treachery, the king is very worried about Harry, Prince Hal, because of his lifestyle and his friends, and he is dying, and in fact he does die in the play, it's spoiler, and then Prince Hal has to get up and renounce his friendship with Falstaff. I think we were supposed to feel sorry for Falstaff. I did not. I did watch the Hollow Crown version of this, and even though I'm sure the guy who played Falstaff was a very good actor and all this stuff, I just still found him a manipulative pig. And so I didn't feel sorry for him at all. He was really counting on being able to get away with, almost murder by being friends with Prince Hal. And he thought he was going to have all this power once he became king. And once he becomes Henry V, he realizes that he has to, and he had it in the back of his mind all along, that he had to renounce his former life and take on the mantle of, kingship and be a responsible leader. And so to me, the most moving passages are between father and son when the father is dying. And that part of the Hollow Crown I thought was brilliant. Tom Hiddleston plays Harry, and Jeremy Irons plays the king. And that scene where the king's on his deathbed, and that was magnificent. It was worth watching the whole rest of the play just for that scene. So I enjoyed it. I really like Richard II, though. That was my favorite. So I'm done with Shakespeare. And that's just the way it's going to be. Just no Winter's Tale for me. And then I finished another book that I'm reading with my Humorous Book of the Month Club, and it was A Confederacy of Dunces. And we were supposed to read this in 2 weeks. It's 14 chapters, so we were supposed to read a chapter a day and be done in 2 weeks. Well, I don't think anyone really did that in the group that stayed with us. Some people just dropped out. I was, I think, one of the later ones to finish it, but I really went in and out with this book. I was kind of turned off by it at first. Well, at first I was having trouble getting traction in it because I was really tired that week that we were supposed to start, and I just could not read more than a few minutes before falling asleep. So I was too tired to read. And so I just couldn't get into it. And also, it's not a novel that the type of novel I usually read. It's got kind of gross stuff in it and some foul language and stuff like that. And I like Victorian literature. What can I say? I want to escape away from the bad stuff in life. But it was all in context, really. And it's such a zany ride. I mean, it's just crazy. It's about Ignatius Riley, who's just a delusional character. He's extremely articulate and eloquent and overly educated. And his whole outlook on life is just condemning everything around him. And he's got these delusions of grandeur that he's going to do some great thing for some cause. And then there's this whole cast of characters that you're following. They all are mostly they're the poor in New Orleans. And he's got to go get a job because his mother drank too much. He pretty much drove her to drink. And she had a car accident, and she's got to pay up. And he's 30 years old. He's been fired. He can't hold a job. He's just so inflated with his own importance. Everything's so melodramatic for him. And so she tells me he has to go get a job. So he gets this one job at this place called Levi Pants, and we meet all the characters there. And then he gets fired from that eventually because he tries to stage a riot. And then he gets hired by this hot dog vendor. And he's dressed in a pirate costume, pushing this hot dog vendor around the streets of the French Quarter. And he gets in all sorts of trouble. It's very, very zany. It has a great ending. I think that has a lot to it. I think it's very funny. It's like, I don't know, do you call it broad farce? But there's a lot to it. There's a lot of observations about humans and what's sane and what's insane. And, it's really, there's a lot to unpack. I don't think I read it thoroughly enough to get all the nuances. But yeah, there's a lot here. So I would give this 4 stars, and I can see why it won the Pulitzer Prize. I think there's a, it's not, they say, oh, it's laugh out loud and everything, and I did laugh out loud sometimes, but not a lot. But it is very zany, and it's making a lot of commentary about life. So I enjoyed it. A lot. So that's it. I'm going to make this a short video since I'm so tired. I don't feel like I'm being very eloquent myself, unlike Ignatius Riley. So I guess that's it. I'm going to try and make probably my Victober TBR is probably going to be short too. I don't know. I'm not feeling overly ambitious. But, all right. So I guess that's it from me for now. I hope you're doing well, and happy reading. Bye.